This video is brought to you by Fermentasaurus, a homebrew store like no other, bringing you the latest products and technology for your homebrewing and hydroponic needs. Link in the description. G'day everyone, my name's Pierre and this is Simple Homebrew. I've got something to show you. Hang on. This thing. This is a thermal well, or thermo well, and it's an upgrade lid or kit for your Fermentasaurus. So if you're interested, stick around. So what we've got is an upgrade kit for a Fermentasaurus. This little beauty here is a replacement for your valve, the actual hand turning, really hard turning point valve, as well as your lid. The actual lid is a replacement part for that. So we're here today to try it out. It was recommended by a subscriber and I thought I'd give it a go. This is the base part with a little bit of fur on it, and this is the lid. Now the lid has a little ring around it. I'm going to try and make sure that it focuses on it. This little ring here works like the Fermzillas do. Also, we have your ports. This will be for your pressure valve, which brings me to another point. I've also purchased 2 pressure valves. So I have a 15 psi one and a 10 psi one. Today I'm going to use the 15 psi and pop it on this and try and see how it works when I pressure ferment using my Fermentasaurus. This also is designed to save room in your fridge, so I'll see how that goes as well. It's tiny, so we have a normal thread or normal clockwise thread for everything, and this part here, hang on, comes out. So there's the valve. That gets placed in this cup end and then they lock in together. Bop, bop. Like that. Now I need to take that and replace my valve in a Fermentasaurus with this one. So let's get into it. So I have my Fermentasaurus here. You guys can probably see this. I'm going to try and give it to you a bit better on different angles. So I've got 2 cameras. So what I've got now is my Fermentasaurus, this little beauty. I'm going to open her up. So I washed this just today, just to make sure everything was right. So here it is. I'll take it right now. I'll just take it out of its protected bag. Drop it down now. I'll just get this off the bench, just so I've got something to work with. Like I said, I've washed it. So what we have is this little nozzle here. That has to come off. So that's not too bad. All we have to do is just twist her off. Put that aside. This is a left-hand thread, so we're going to turn it to the wrong direction to what you feel like you should be turning it. So once I get that, I need something to hold because this hurts my hand. It is one of the first ones of this kind, so they were kind of experimenting, I suppose, with it. So a lot of things like this you couldn't undo because it hurt your hand more than anything else. So it's so that all these parts are no longer required for your system. So I will discard those. I'm not going to throw it away. Don't worry, I'm not going to throw it away. I will be purchasing another one of these and I'll be using this to that. So that's a good start. So at the moment I have cleaned this. So I'll just quickly give it a wipe out where the bit was. I'll just go get some sanitizer. I just made a new 20 litre batch of sanitizer, so I'm right there. Whew, it's still heavy. So what I need to do now is get my spray bottle, which is probably not here either. By the way, that's 1.5 to 1000 mix on sanitizer that I created just for this job. Now what I have to do is put this end into my Fermentasaurus end. It's quite easy. All I have to do is undo this thumb screw, throw this in the end cap here, drop it in the bottom, just like this all, and laugh because I've got it wrong. Take it back out because I've got something wrong here. Is that the right size? Do I have to open this up? Well, I'm going to say this. I actually sent a message to the guys who supplied this and asked if this would fit in a Fermentasaurus, and they said yes. But I tell you what, right now, that's the size of the hole that it's meant to fit in. It was either misguided, which I think I have been, because I now have to cut that to the size that I need. Now I don't know if it's going to detrimentally affect the pressure, but I'm going to do it anyway. Anyway, so I'll get back to you guys once I've done it. See you soon. Okay, so I've got my renovator, this bloke, and I'm hoping that this blade will help me cut around that mark. So we're going to make a heap of noise. Good luck to me. Okay, I know this is a bit strange doing this, and I know I've probably weakened the structural integrity of this thing, but I cut my hole, it's nice and smooth and clear in there now. I'm hoping that the rubber grommet will seal. If it does, then I might try and ferment in it. All I need to do now is just pop a bit of sanitizer on the base of this. Yeah. Now remember, just so you guys all know, that this is an old Fermentasaurus. It's one that I know still works well, and I wasn't worried if I'm going to destroy it by doing what I just did. I mean, you guys are probably going to frown on it and go, what the hell is he doing? But someone's got to do it, eh? Alright, so I'll put my rubber seal on. It's going to go that way. Rubber seal, what this is basically the base of the new Fermowell that I've got. Now, what I've discovered, just to recap, is that the new Fermowell didn't fit in the hole of an ordinary Fermentasaurus. So I've just adapted it by drilling it out, grinding out the end, and making it fit, just like that. Hopefully, it'll be at least a little bit square, all round. So, assembly. I'll pop the end caps on. This is all clockwise threads on this one, which is a really good option. I was going to chuck a bit of thing, but this seems to be... I was going to chuck... Actually, I still might do that. So I'm going to chuck a bit of food grade grease on the thread and as well the rubber seal, just to give it a better seal. Just a bit on the thread here. Just put a little bit like that, spread it around the thread. So this is so I can undo it later. Right. Now that's done. I'll put some on the actual rubber seal as well. I'm getting a bit low on the old stuff. There we go. You don't need a lot, you just need a little bit. It just helps lubricate and seal our seals, the rubber seals. And now I've been asked before by a fair few people out there actually if it affects the brew, the beer, the finished brew. Well, I haven't found it to. The grease doesn't seem to affect it at all, in what I can tell. So now I'll throw that into the base. Now I've got to hold it and put the little cap on. So this is the hard part. Screw it on. Now it's a clockwise thread on this one, not anti-clockwise like the others. So Just notice we need to hold this while we turn that. As you can tell, it's not turning now, so how good's that? Okay, I'll just grab a bit of cloth so it's not so slippery. Clean cloth, and I'll tighten that up by hand until I can't turn it anymore. Well, that's nice and tight. That's on. Looks all right. So what we need to do now, that's our thing. This is actually meant to go on the base, just on here, so we can put our bowl underneath it. So I'll quickly put a bit of sanitizer in there. Just get it in there and screw this baby on. Now in here, sorry, I just wanted to tell you, there's a little rubber seal just on this ledge, just to keep it sealed, so when we do this up, it's nice and sealed. So looking at that, goes on nicely. Cloth again to help me do it up. And there you go. We're in like Flynn, look at that. So from here on in, I've got my base put on. It's not too bad, it's not out of whack, it's pretty square, which I'm happy about. So I now have to put my thermal well in. So this good little Blake has a seal, just like the Fermzilla. And the Fermo well, pretty much clicks in and locks in at the base. So I can show you, looks like it's nicely locked in there. The well's in there. This is all locked in nicely as well. And if you can see inside, not that you can, I might just quickly shine a torch camera down there. It's nicely placed and seated inside. What we now have to do is place all these ends on the new head. So we have to remove these and put them on this beauty. The other thing I need to do too, I have these little things. This is a 10 psi PRV. It relieves pressure at 10 psi. It's actually an awesome idea, better than having a, what do you call them? A spunding valve. And this one is a 15 psi. Now I like to ferment at 15 psi because it keeps the carbonation a little bit in the beers after it's finished. So I'm going to use the purple one, which is a 15 psi, in the top of my thermo well. So that, this beauty here, the purple one is 15 psi. That just gets screwed into the top here, just like this. I'll turn that first, so it's locked in at the top. So we have it open, so it can be screwed in easy. So I'll throw that in like that. Tighten her up and then let it seal. And that's in. She's mounted, nice and tight, nice and neat. So the next part is to take these in and out units off this and put it into the new holder. So I'll just quickly remove them. They're really not that hard to do. You have an in and out, so it's really nice. You can see the gas port has the notches in it, so you get little notches in the side, and the serving port doesn't. We need to remove this part off the valve and keep this part. I'll just give this a clean out while I'm at it, so it's nice and new before I start working with it. And when I clean these, I'll quickly look under the rubber, make sure it's clean under the rubber, no sediment or anything like that. That's nice and clean. Bit of that. This one here to pop it, just take that out and just check that out as well while I'm at it. This is just how to clean anything anyway. So it just had a little bit of gunk in there, I just noticed, so I thought I better give that a good clean before putting it back in. Looking pretty good, nice and clean. So I'll pop that back together, put a little poppet back in, put my little spring back in, which is also a little bit gunky. It's better, now it's clean. Poppet goes in the end, in the tip, spring in, then your drop tube or dip tube. I will put a bit of lube on that. Whoop, too much. just a little bit, just so it slides in nicely and everything is lubricated and sealed better. It also helps the rubbers stay alive and sexy when you do that. And this will now screw on any side. You can pick it in or out, whatever side you want to be in, and you just slide it in. So you could do it either way. That just took straight away to the right spot. You could always slip your dip tube in first. And when you slip your dip tube in, it's easier to guide it, but me being a me, I didn't just do that. Doesn't matter, it'll work anyway. This is working quite well now, I'm very happy. So I'll just do the other side. So I'll have to grab a pair of vice grips, just very lightly grabbing the base and then undoing. Oh, that one's not holding, that's holding a bit tighter. So I'll have to tighten that up. I wasn't going to go that tight, but looks like I have to. I hope this isn't boring the hell out of everybody, but it's probably something different. If you guys are going to want to do a Fermentasaurus, this is what you need to do. And I'm glad I worked it out. So the same thing, going to clean these. Once I've cleaned these, I'll show you how I've done it all. Alright guys, so this is the full setup, except for the handle, which I'll show you in a sec. So I'm now going to pop that into my Fermentasaurus. So I don't know how much this is going to make it hard for you to see, but this bloke has to go on the top, that has to go on the bottom, that's the plunger that sits in the base. We slide it in like this. I'll pop over there so you can see, and you can see through the plastic here that we need to push that in there, see how it lines up? And from that, we now need to just pop the lid on, just like that. We then use the original ring. I hope this fits because everything else has worked out relatively okay in the end. And firmly tighten it, and we now have our thermal well placed nicely on here. You can see there. Oh, the other thing I have to do too is put a cotter pin in, so it's nicely sealed at the base. So there's a couple more things we need to do. You need to remove your float off, your pickup tube. Well, the other part I need to do is put this on. So what this does is it runs along this area, along the tube, down to the valve. And looking at it, it's almost spot on in the position it's meant to be. There's only one more thing we have to do. We need to put our handle on it to make it easy to move in and out. Now these guys are kind enough to supply at least an Allen key. So the handle goes on, but in the handle, there's a little grub screw just there. We've got to undo that with the Allen key supplied by these guys, which I now have to go and find because I don't know what I've done with it. Okay, so there's one thing I forgot to do, and I just found the packet. It was with the Allen key. Oh, shit a brick. This little cotter pin has to go in here. So we need to snap that on. Just like that. That basically stops you pulling it right out when you're trying to open it, which limits the movement of that. So that little grub screw lines up with a little hole. I'll show you the little hole. So there's this little hole right there, and that little hole will line up with that handle. Now that handle isn't going all the way on, so screw that a bit more. There we go. The hard part now I found is that lining this scrub screw up may be a challenge. Or not. I actually got it first time, so not bad. Anyway, I'll do that up. Just firm. It'll never come undone. And you keep the Allen key in case it does come undone. And that's our handle. And that's it. That's our ferment well installed. Probably not correctly, but it's installed nonetheless. You can see the ball goes to the bottom of the brew, so it'll pretty much help. The handle just lifts, so as you can see on this camera up top, you can see that the handle moves and twists, so you can easily pull it up and down, and it's limited to that sort of movement. So the opening, I can see, if you can see that, is only slight, it's only short, probably about 30 to 40 mil, what I can tell. So that is now set up, so I will pop that in. Our next video is brewing a brew of it, and I'm going to do an extract that is old to Tui's. I'll grab it. I've got a Tui's draft that is very old, and if you've been following my channel, I've been doing ancient brews and seeing what they taste like. So this is best before the 17th of the 3rd, 2012. So what does that make it? 8 years old? 9 years old, just about 9 years old. So it's a bit older than the last one I did, but younger than the first one I did. Right, so it's the next morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning. Look at that. It's fermenting just nicely. What I've noticed though, on the back of this unit here, you got this baby. There's a little hole there. That little hole is for my thermometer when I put it into the fridge. So my fridge is ready to go. So as you can see, our little PRV valve is working. You can hear it. This is our thermal well, or thermo well, where the probe will go down into the center of it. So I'll pop that in when I put it in the fridge. If it fits, this is the other thing I've got to figure out, whether it's going to fit in the fridge. We'll soon find out, won't we? Just barely fits, look at that. Right, I've stirred it up a little bit. But it doesn't matter. So what I need to do now is put my thermometer in. Don't know if you guys can see that very well, but in it goes. It's sliding in nicely actually. That should be in far enough now. I reckon that's perfect. So my thermometer is set up in my firmware well. Hopefully you saw what I did there. So all we do now is wait and see. So I've set my control unit to 18 degrees Celsius. Press and hold the button just so you see. So function 1 is the temperature control, and it's set at 18 degrees Celsius, ready to go. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers guys.